All right, we are live with this episode of the podcast this week. Mob Crush people and YouTube video, YouTube people. Thanks for sticking around and watching us live. The this week's episode of the podcast is sponsored by Rogue Rocket Games for their new game Gunpowder. It's on the App Store for $3.99, or you can visit gunpowdergame.com to learn more. So just got to get the post up, which I'm doing right now, and then send the tweet out, and then we will start recording.
Tweet out. Get your tweet out.
Tweet out with your meat out.
All right, TouchArcade just streaming live on TouchArcade. Cool.
Blah blah blah. TouchArcade.
Blah 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 blah. All right, you guys ready?
Sure.
Ready to
Yes,
just
sir.
start? Well, I should make sure that looks okay on the front page, I guess, before I stop paying attention for an hour. All right, looks good. This is episode number T21. All right, I'm gonna start recording proper, and then we can get the show on the road. Hey guys, what's up? You are listening to the TouchArcade Show. This is episode number 221, which seems like a impossibly high number. I can't believe I'm still alive for all this. So yeah, I don't know what's going on this week that we need to urgently discuss at the beginning of the podcast.
BB-8.
BB-8.
No, God,
Did you guys?
I just see a lot of tweets about that.
Well, so here's what's interesting. I guess, well, this would be part of our, this would be a news story, but I guess we can talk about it now. But so Sphero has been a thing for a while, right? For like years now. I think we saw the Sphero first at E3 2012. Maybe even
it was a while ago.
Yeah, you guys talked about it like years and years ago.
Yeah, so the Sphero, is a Bluetooth connected smart toy thing that you download the Sphero app on your phone and played whatever you wanted to play with it.
It's a little robot ball that you can control, and it's super fun.
Yeah, so it's, well, I mean, how long did it take for you to get bored of it?
Until mine broke.
Which was how long?
Not long after I got
about
it.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
No, it was like a couple of months down the road. But no, I know what you mean. Like, it was fun, and it's definitely like a toy, but the novelty factor does wear off. It's not like,
well, and then I guess
amazing.
back in the early days, like they didn't have many third-party apps that used it or whatever, so it was basically like, all right, cool, I can like steer this ball around with my phone. That's neat, cool. And the reaction that it saw was kind of like, all right, that's cool. You know, very, very little fanfare. It was, I think it was $100 too, originally. I don't know how much it costs now, but so, you know, the reaction was very much like, all right, cool. You know, thanks, I guess, neat toy. Maybe I'll buy one if they get cheaper, kind of thing. You know, that was right. About it. You know, it was very much like, oh, I'm glad this exists, but it's not something I'm going to race out and buy, right? So fast forward a few years, and Sphero, or I guess I don't know if their parent company is still Orbotics, or if they just switched names to Sphero now, or whatever.
I don't know.
Whatever company is now like heavily funded through investor money and has teamed up with Disney and is releasing a Star Wars toy, or I guess more accurately now has released a Star Wars toy. They teased it back in April.
If you can get one.
And yeah, well, that's the thing. So they teased it back in April when the Star Wars movie first started becoming a thing. And I don't know. I think everyone was like, "Oh, that's neat. That's cool. I need this droid thing in my life." Kinda. I guess people were more excited than they were for the Sphero, but I didn't know how much of that excitement was basically just, you know, on like the coattails of the Star Wars trailer, right?
Right.
Because the internet was at like excitement level 10 million for the Star Wars trailer, So it seemed like, at least I thought, you know, anything to do with Star Wars that around that time, of course, people are going to go crazy for. So I kind of assumed the BB-8 mania would kind of wane, but it came out on, I guess this Wednesday on the New Zealand App Store, the little controller app. And yeah, I don't know. Now it's out in stores, $150. People are standing in line to get them. So that's a thing that's happening, right?
They're probably all gone. I was gonna order one online, and they were, by the time I woke up, they were gone. So
really, where did you check?
Through the Sphero store or whatever. They emailed me.
Oh.
I haven't got to the point I'm gonna like call stores or anything. I mean,
being sold like everywhere.
Sort of wanted one. Yeah, maybe if I go out and about and see one, I'll pick it up. I don't know. It wasn't like I'm gunning for this thing, but I was in the frame of mind this morning of like, yeah, I want that. But I couldn't order one. So
I think it's just because it's a little robot dude as opposed to a little ball.
But it does the exact same thing as the Sphero, though. And
it's got character.
You know? The little ball on top,
actually,
though. Did you guys read the in-depth reviews of it?
I'm just saying the look of it.
There's not enough clearance.
The little head thing is just a magnet with some wheels on it that just kind of like rolls on top of the ball.
Yeah, that's
like,
fine. It's still really cool.
But she's got a new hat.
And that's honestly like that is what it feels like, is the Malibu Stacy new hat thing.
I don't know. Yeah. It might be like that, but I mean, I don't know. If you compare it to video games, there's plenty of things that, you know, make video games better when they have more character. You put a, you know, cool costume on somebody, or, you know, some cool new look, even if it doesn't change any of your stats or anything, it just like looks cool, makes you feel cooler.
Yeah.
Makes
I agree
fun.
with that. Yeah, it's neat because, you know, the tech of the Sphero is just basically perfect for this little droid they made for the movie. And the fact that, you know, everyone was really, when the first trailer came out, everyone was like, oh, that rolling droid thing is cool, but, you know, computer animation, whatever. And everyone was like, no, that's a practical effect. Like, that's a real thing we made. And people were like, no way. And then they had that Star Wars day, and it was like, the real one rolled out on stage using like the Sphero technology and stuff, and people were just, that was like the highlight of that entire like week-long thing. And so I think it's just like that, there's sort of like something magical about this little robot actually being real, and now you can buy a little toy version and control it, and it works like the robot does in the movie. And, you know, that's a big deal, as opposed to like, here's a plain white ball.
I guess. I don't know, like the insanity I've seen on Twitter is really crazy. Like seriously, everyone's like either buying one or buying like multiple ones because they think it's gonna be like the hot Christmas toy or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know. They'll all be hot toys. It's Star Wars, and Star Wars comes out like 2 weeks before Christmas or a week before Christmas. So
Star Wars has always been pretty good about getting merchandise out.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of.
Yeah.
They always find something from the movies they could make fun little toys.
Well, I've kicked around the idea of getting, so there's the original Spheros, which is the one I had. And then, I don't know, a year ago or something, they came out with the Sphero 2.0, which is basically like, it had some improvements. It was a better thing. So after mine died, I was like, well, it'd be cool to get the 2.0 one. I liked the first one. It just stopped working. And so I'd been kicking around the idea of getting another one for a while now. Just never had.
They also have like the longer tube one too.
Yeah, but I don't know if that one seems like as much fun. But I don't know. It seems more rugged. Like you could drive it downstairs and stuff. But I don't know. Now they have the little robot one. That's like extra incentive. Like, okay, that's pretty cool. I was gonna get one anyway. Now I'll get the Star Wars one.
All right.
I'm gonna wait till they have one with 2 cameras, and I can wear VR goggles and watch where I'm going in real time. Like,
there was the app screenshots. I don't know if what this thing actually does, but did you see there was like some augmented reality sort of weird stuff?
Yeah, that's in the trailer for it. It can, I mean, presumably that's why it has the pattern on it, you know, so you can recognize that pattern on your iPhone camera. It looks like it does like the little R2D2 kind of video beam sort of thing, which that's neat.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. So whatever.
It probably has to be pitch black in the room or something.
Yeah.
It's just it just seems crazy to me that like a few years ago these app connected toys were like, all right, yeah, who gives a shit? To like, I like it seems conceivable this could be the hot holiday toy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing they have the little Millennium Falcon quadcopter that's like the cheapy little ones you can get like anywhere for like $10. Well, they made one that's like got a Millennium Falcon body, like foam body, and kind of want one of those too.
Have you used one of the cheapy little helicopter thingers?
Not the quadcopters, but I did have one of those cheapy, like normal helicopter ones.
Yeah, those things were absolute shit.
They break
garbage,
pretty quick.
but they're fun. I don't know.
Once you crash it, it's done.
They're really hard
to buy a bunch of them.
Yeah, someone sent me back when those things were new, a one to post in TouchArcade about, and yeah, it seemed concerning that in the box it came with like 6 extra sets of blades.
Yeah, because you just know they're gonna break.
Well, yeah, sure enough, like the first time I like fly it up into the air, it hits the wall, and like one of the blades breaks, and I was like, well, one down, 6 to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see what else kind of comes out of this Star Wars stuff. I mean, presumably there's going to just be like a blitz of Star Wars apps and games and all sorts of things that happen when you sign your IP over to Disney, right?
Yeah.
You know what was wild is so the free-to-play mobile game by what is it, Kabam? The people are doing Star Wars Unleashed, I think the title is, or whatever.
The Uprising?
Yeah, that's it. There was a line at PAX to play that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like wrap your head around.
You can play it.
Well, right. That was so. 2 things weird about that. Like, first of all, with a tiny bit of research, you could just download the game yourself. Yeah. Second of all, lining up for a free-to-play mobile game, like when did you ever see that happening in a million years?
That's Star Wars, though, man.
Yeah,
that has a strange power over people,
I guess. But it also makes you wonder, like how long will these various Star Wars games even exist on the App Store? Because remember the previous Star Wars stuff, like all lost their licenses or whatever else.
It's been like a cycle over the years, because there's been Star Wars games going many years back. And like the Trench Run game was awesome. That was like one of the best Star Wars games, because Star Wars has kind of a bad track record with video games.
Right.
So that Trench Run game was awesome. The Tower Defense game was cool. The Battle for Hoth, I think it was called. And a few other Star Wars games. There was like an augmented reality kind of one that was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, they all license change hands, stuff like that. The games get pulled, they're gone forever, and that sucks. And then even now, even Disney, didn't they just shut something down like in the last year or something like that, because they were going to focus? They shut like 2 of their Disney games down, or their Star Wars games down, so they could focus on whatever the free-to-play like card one is, or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, you make a good point that it's like, how long are these games going to stay around?
Yeah, I really wish that developers would stop shutting down free-to-play games, because it's like real hard to get invested in anything now, and you know that like even big companies like Disney and shit like that are just turning their games off.
Well, yeah, I think it's like I don't know. It's hard, because it's like it's expensive to keep that stuff going, and I get it. So if a game stops being popular, then you're sort of like, what's the point? I think at the very least they should build in some sort of like offline fail-safe mode. So when the inevitable happens and they got to shut it down, they can at least be like, here's this final patch. It makes the game playable offline, or single player stuff, just so you can at least play it still.
Yeah.
And then just let it live like that for as long as it can, or whatever. I think that'd be the nice thing to do, instead of being like, well, everybody's screwed.
Well, what's interesting, so a couple weeks ago I went to hung out with the Game Insight guys who do similar kind of free-to-play stuff, and one of their big things is they never shut a game down. And when I asked them that, I was like, well, everyone says it's like so expensive to keep these games up and everything else, and then they were like, dude, it's the total opposite. Like, as these games kind of like trail off and less people playing them, like it is so cheap to host them, it's ridiculous, because like your resources are like nothing, because it's just a server up that you can scale back to just one tiny little server in the corner of your office. It works fine. And another thing they do is when they kind of like end of life a game and stop supporting it but keep it up, they'll do some crap to have it like very rapidly rotating through its different like seasonal kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, I thought that was like an awesome approach, because it was like It's like, well, it totally makes sense that, you know, if you have very few people playing a game anymore, like you can, you know, it's not like you're going to need some massive server infrastructure to keep supporting it. And like, if you have a shitload of content in it, like why take it offline when you can just let the people that are still playing it, like, go at it?
Yeah.
And, you know, the only thing they didn't really have an answer for was like, well, you know, I was like, well, what happens if, you know, iOS 9 significantly breaks these games? Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know,
then it's probably like, just like sit down and figure out if it's worth it to fix or something.
But I mean, it's so many of these games that get shut down. Like that's not the case at all. It's just like, oh well, these aren't making us enough money, so fuck it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like there's any real technical reason or they're broken or anything else. It's I don't know. Although I guess it's possible too that Game Insight like might build their games with the idea that like, hey, eventually this will be kind of like sunsetted into, you know, one tiny server. Maybe they build them with that in mind as opposed to, you know, potential crazy infrastructure that other games have. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that I guess that's Star Wars in a nutshell.
Anyway, go get your BB-8.
$150 seems expensive, but what do I know?
Yeah, I don't know.
So we got a couple of emails this week. If you guys wanna hear them,
let's do it.
Well, one's from last week. So the more recent one is from Daniel, who says, hey, y'all, love the podcast, love the team, love the site, hate the TA app. I heard last podcast about not updating the app, and with Apple News poised to go public shortly, it makes a lot of sense. But I didn't hear y'all talk about Apple News making money off ads within the News app and such. Will TA get plugged into Apple News? So we actually are already in Apple News. You just have to search for TouchArcade, 2 words, like touch space arcade, and it should come up. I don't know how all the ad stuff is going to work out, though. I'm not very optimistic on all that, considering how shitty iAd has done.
Yeah,
but we'll be in news. I don't know. I haven't updated anything to iOS 9 yet because, like,
me neither.
I don't want to.
Me neither.
I feel like that's such a jackass thing to do.
Or
when it's
iOS
like,
8.
I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get, Mike? Are you gonna get a 6S this year?
I think so.
So you'll be on iOS 9.
Oh crap! I will be.
You have to.
Yeah. See, every 2 years when I get my new phone,
So you seriously don't update at all? Like not even the point releases, or you just don't go to the next major release?
I get most of the point releases.
Huh.
I might update to my 5S to iOS 8, perhaps before it goes away.
Just for funsies.
Yeah, just since I figured our games will probably support at least a minimum of iOS 8 now. Maybe 7, I don't know.
But why don't you support iOS 4?
No, I think we support iOS. Is it 5 as the minimum?
Don't you? I thought it was iOS 6 that you had to was the absolute minimum you could support now, right? Because it won't even let you upload a binary that goes back.
Yeah, I don't know. We support. I think our Radical and Move the Walls were iOS 7 and up. I think, or 6 and up. Yeah, I don't know. I know we cut off whatever below that.
Yeah,
it was pointless.
I remember reading quite a few different developer blogs, like kind of bitching about how like you can't support those super old devices anymore, even if your game works fine on them. Yeah. Like if you want to update them in the future, which I don't know, that kind of sucks. So second email we got is from huge 49er fan. He thanks us for putting on the podcast. He has been gaming forever. He had an old 8088 PC, and then an NES up through PS2. And that's when he stopped gaming pretty much altogether, but kind of iPad 2 has sort of reinvigorated his kind of gaming prowess. And I can take credit for him buying this War of Mine because he saw the $15 price tag and then remembered me being like, if you don't buy these $15, I guess not even necessarily $15, but if you don't buy premium games, like they're not going to exist anymore, right? So he says he's glad he bought it, which is cool. He has a question for you, though, Jared. He says, I know that you and I share a love for the 49ers, so I'm thinking he's played a fair share of football iOS games. My favorite is a little jewel called Pro Strategy Football Career. It's a sweet app if you're into football, not soccer management games. I'd like to know what your favorite iOS football game is.
That's a great question. I know that Pro Strategy Football game. I've tried to like it. I think my thing is, so like football's like not my favorite sport. Like I'm a baseball, hockey guy, but and basketball even. But yeah, I like watch football, but I'm not like really into like the strategy and you know everything that goes along with that like I am with other sports. So I'm more of just like a casual football fan, I guess. So that pro strategy football is like great, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I mean, it's the same thing if you're playing like Madden or something too. I'm like, I'll just pick this pass play. It looks cool. Like I don't know anything about it,
Yeah,
or
I'm the same way.
I don't know why I'm picking that. So anyway, um, so that's why I see a lot of people really love that pro strategy football because of that, because it's like a really good, deep like football strategy game. That's just not my sort of thing. But that said, hold on, I forgot the name of it, so now I gotta look it up. Oh yeah, Football Heroes is easily my favorite football game on mobile.
Is that the
It's
Techno
like
Super Bowl kind of endless runnery thing?
Yeah.
No, not Endless Runner. It's
It looks like just a side scrolling football game. The
no,
side view
it's
one.
like yeah, it's side view. It's like it's set up sort of like it was Tecmo Bowl. But it's actually more like it's sort of like across like NFL Blitz style. It's like arcade football where you can like punch each other and there's power ups and crazy stuff like that. But it's just like it's really fun.
So that's your answer.
Is it as fun as Mutant League football on Nintendo?
That actually is the Mutant League games are still my favorite sports games of all time.
Those are classics.
This is sort of in a similar vein as those, but so there's Football Heroes Normal 2015, and then there's Football Heroes Pro Edition. The Pro Edition is interesting because it actually has the real NFL players themselves, the right names and the right stats and stuff like that, but doesn't have an NFL license, so the teams and stuff like that aren't real. But you can like make your own teams and stuff. So you can basically just replicate the NFL, and then you have all the real players with their stats and stuff like that.
Does anyone go to the trouble of doing that though? Because I've seen a lot of developers. You have?
Yeah.
Really?
I did it in the first football. Wow. I did it in the first Football Heroes. Not.
Because I was gonna say like a lot of developers say shit like oh well, we don't have the players licenses, but you can edit all the teams and stuff. So if you wanted to, you could make all the teams like the professional teams. Yeah. And like man, that seems like so much effort.
There's a game called Active Soccer 2, and they did a really smart thing where they were the same way. They didn't have a license for like anything, but they went through and they put in every like pro soccer player's name, all the different teams and stuff like that, and then they swapped out different letters but consistently with every team, and then they put in like in the editing thing they put like an edit all. So if you went in and you just said, hey, every E in the game I want to actually be an O or whatever, you did that for a couple different letters, it actually changed it for everybody all in once. So you basically had to just go and do like change like one option, and it fixed all the names and all the teams and stuff like that. I feel like
that's a pretty good way to get sued if you reach any kind of critical mass, right?
So yeah, it's I don't know, it's a pretty nice way to circumvent that whole thing, I guess.
And the company didn't know about it until Jared just told them.
Oh God, Jared!
They got sued into the ground. But anyway, Football Heroes Pro, go play that. Super fun.
Wow. Well, no iTunes reviews this week, but, whatever. It's all good. If you want to send us an email, it's podcast@toucharcade.com, or if you want to leave us an iTunes review, any region will see it, and we'll read it on the show, regardless of how much you hate the podcast, which is kind of weird. But anyway, so did you guys play any cool games this week? I played a few.
New games?
New games. Did you guys play The Deer God?
Yeah, I played it a little bit.
What do you think of this?
I really like it. I think it's awesome.
Do you think it's weird? Like, do you think the amount that it kind of like nods to sword and sorcery is intentional, or am I just kind of reading between the lines on that?
I think it's intentional. I think they're sort of going for that same sort of like feel of you're in this really weird, interesting world.
Yeah.
The graphics are obviously very similar.
So The Deer God, if you haven't heard of it, is the latest release from Crescent Moon Games. I want to say it's $3 or $4 or something like that. And it is a 2.5D platformer where you play as a deer, which is it's got kind of a weird setup at the beginning, because it's like you are actually a human that's been transformed into a deer because you're a hunter that was like shooting a deer, and then the deer god comes up and like tells you that you must pay for your crimes against deer, or I don't know,
whatever.
It feels become the deer.
What seems weird, and I haven't gotten to the end of the game, so I don't know if it like circles back in a way that like supremely makes sense. But did that seem like super forced to you? Because I was just like, dude, I could like, it's totally fine to just have a game where it's like, all right, you're a deer.
Yeah.
Like that's okay. Like you don't have to explain it.
No, I think it does circle around, and I think it's an important part of the game from what they were trying to do, because they really like wanted to hammer home like this is experience life as a deer or whatever, and you're out in this forest, and it's kind of like you don't know what's coming next. You have enemies to face off against. You got to worry about eating and finding food and stuff like that, and on top of all that, there's dudes hunting you. So I don't know. I think that it'll eventually come back around and be an important like link to tie the whole story together, but I don't know that for sure. But I thought it was an interesting thing to do. Be like, isn't that ironic? The hunter got reincarnated as a deer, and now he's got to learn what it's like being a deer. So, but the game itself, I think, is really interesting. How you start off as like a baby, and you sort of like are growing as you progress in the game, and you're getting older and older and older, and then you can die and come back as another baby. And I don't know. I thought that whole thing was really cool.
Yeah, it's got kind of I don't know if it's cliche to call games like this like Metroidvania kind of stuff, but you slowly unlock different power-ups and things like that.
Yeah,
you get double jump inside of like 5 seconds of playing, and it kind of just goes from there with other similar sort of things.
That's another thing that I like about it, is that I just like the way it feels. Like I feel like the speed of movement and jumping and stuff just feels really good for a platformer. So it's just like fun to play. So I just get joy out of exploring the world, finding out what I'm supposed to do next, trying to complete a mission or whatever. It's just like a fun thing for me to play, where I've heard other people, this has been like a really polarizing game. A lot of people really don't like it.
So what's I like it. So
really love it.
What's the don't like it stance on it? Like why?
Well, a couple of things I agree with. So one, people were like, it's kind of repetitive, because what do? Like there's no real guidance, really. I mean, there is a little bit, but you
just run to the right.
A lot of it's just running around and exploring. Yeah. So if you're not into that, like if you need more goal-oriented, structured sort of stuff, I could see not liking it. And then a lot of people complained about, just visually being the game tricking them into, they'll jump down a pit they thought they could land on a platform, but it actually was in the background.
I could see that.
I've had a few instances of where like a foreground object will be like in the way, like I can't see because the way the parallax works and the layers, one layer gets in front of the other, and then before you know it, like I can't see what I'm doing. So there's like a couple issues like that. But I don't know, it's nothing that's like ruining the game or anything like that. And plus the whole game is like randomly generated, so you're gonna run into weird issues occasionally. But I don't know, I think it's really interesting. I think I'm playing on the regular mode too, and the normal, like the hardcore, whatever they call it, is like you die and you I think you start over completely or something. So I'm sort of interested to see what that's like too, because that's sort of getting into like roguelike.
Such is the life of a deer.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really like this game. It's actually $6.99.
Oh, is it?
And that's on sale. It's gonna normally be $10.
You know what? I think is a
good
for them.
Move.
Good for them.
Oh yeah. So we'll see.
Because this,
we'll see how it does.
I'm pretty sure this game is on Steam too, though.
Yeah, it's been on Steam for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it on Steam.
Yeah.
Do you?
Old school.
Wow. Yeah, I guess my only complaint with this, and I don't know if this seems like something you could change in the options. I just haven't fiddled with it, but I think the default control method of like attacking via swiping instead of just another button seems weird.
Yeah. I learned that you can actually just swipe above the jump button. And
can you? Oh, because it tells you to swipe in the center of the screen, which
I know. And I was
like playing on the iPad is like, this is dumb.
Yeah, no, I think you should be able to just swipe above the button. That was working on the iPhone.
That makes way more sense then.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'm excited to keep playing it to see the exciting conclusion of what lessons you learned as a hunter.
Yeah, man. Maybe you'll think twice before you go out and shoot a bunch of deer, which you do all the time.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever been hunting.
Me neither.
So the themes of the game are not necessarily resonating with me.
When I see a deer just running wild, I'll be like, I know your struggle, bro.
I know your struggle. Yeah, I know you know, once you get that double jump, everything really opens up as a deer. So
yeah, I hope the best for you in your double jump.
I really get it. It seems another thing that seems strange about this game, and is you can attack like anything. If you see a fox in the woods, I can just kill it.
Oh yeah, there's like a morality.
It's really strange.
And then you become the fox. No, you don't. That's not.
No, you can actually.
No.
Wait, you can really?
Other animals, yes.
Huh.
You can be reincarnated as different animals, and the other animals, any animal that's not a deer, basically has crappier stats than you. So it's going to be even harder. So you're most likely going to just die again and hope to not get reincarnated as a non-deer.
If you kill a fox, you get reincarnated as a fox as a lesson for that? And as a fox, it sucks?
Happen, as I understand from reading the forums. That is a thing that can happen.
All right, I definitely need to play more of this game.
Yeah.
It's pretty like cool. I
think the developers thinking, you know, don't kill animals. You can't kill a deer or you'll become a deer. They're like, well, I'll just kill a fox then. They're like, well, okay, then you could become a fox.
It's like you've learned nothing from playing this game at all. Like you're not even listening to the deer god.
Like, come on.
Like I just killed a deer because I can, just because I wanted to see him die.
Oh man,
that's life.
Life. I'm really curious, like how you get to the ending then, because I mean, like I've been playing and it seems very like roguelike-y, you know, where it's like I kind of get like far enough that I just kind of run out of health, or you know, can't find any more berries or whatever else. Like I wonder if I'm doing something wrong.
I don't know.
Or whatever. Like, have you hit points?
You're crappy.
Well, have you hit points in the game where it feels like you're reaching like the next plot point?
No, I haven't. Like, I've been just running around. I haven't really been doing missions or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure that's how you progress, is like from mission to mission.
Because like one of the a lot of the missions, like I can't really figure out like where you're really supposed to go, because I don't
I think it very heavily relies on exploring, and it doesn't do a lot of hand holding. So.
I mean, that's fine. The ones that I've completed, like I found by what feels like a complete accident.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, I'm gonna kill an otter and see if I can reincarnate as an otter.
The deer guy just comes back up and he's like, "What the? How many times do I have to tell you, dude?
Stop killing everybody.
Stop killing animals.
Stop.
I'm gonna let this porcupine kill me. Let's see. Am I gonna be an otter? I'm a deer.
No, I'm a deer. I'm just
all right.
Well,
you want to take a quick break and get a word in from our sponsors and come back on the other side with some more hot game chat?
Surely.
Hot game chat.
All right. Stick with us. All right, Mob Crush people and YouTube people, you get to hear me read this live, which may or may not go well. So, as mentioned at the beginning of the show, Rogue Rocket Games for Gunpowder is sponsoring this week's episode of the TouchArcade Show. You can find their game on the App Store. It's $4. So here's the copy for the ad this week. Looking for some explosive entertainment on your mobile device? Check out the critically acclaimed action puzzler Gunpowder, available for the current gen iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch devices. Use your finger to plot passive gunpowder and orchestrate a symphony of explosions. Break down obstacles and blast open the safe to win. With 150 mind-blowing levels and over a dozen game-changing mechanics, you'll soon see why TouchArcade gave Gunpowder 4.5 stars. Have a blast with Gunpowder, on sale on the App Store for $3.99, or go to gunpowdergame.com to learn more. So yeah, thanks for our sponsors and everything else. Thanks for watching the video, people that are only seeing the secret video message. Wow.
Looking good.
Yeah. So, you guys ready to start in on the second half here?
Yes, sir.
Give me just one quick second here. I'll just get my list up here. Make things easier on me. Okay, cool. All right, I'll bring us in on the other half of this. All right, dudes, we're back. Second exciting segment of the TouchArcade Show. Arguably the most exciting segment. Or maybe not. I don't know. I guess you could argue either way. So did any of you guys play Chilingo's new game, Power Ping Pong?
I have not yet, but I've been hearing good things.
So it's cool. However, I think it's one of those games that the tutorial just goes on forever.
That can be tricky.
Well, what's weird is like so it's really maybe the best kind of iteration of ping pong that I've seen so far on the App Store. Which
what about table tennis touch?
I don't know.
No?
What's neat about this is
I
it's
played
like
the S out of table tennis touch.
oh good, you played the S out of it.
I beat it all.
Wow. So it's kind of like Fruit Ninja meets ping pong. Which sounds really crazy because you, instead of having like a paddle, because isn't table tennis touch, and there's been so many that I could be remembering wrong, but don't you drag your finger around on the screen to manipulate a paddle in real time and you use the paddle to hit? Okay. So the way that this works is you swipe as like when you're supposed to hit the ball, and depending on the direction you swipe, you can do a bunch of crazy stuff. So God, I don't remember if it's up or down, but anyway, so you know, your opponent hits the ball at you, it bounces on your side of the table, and then when it gets time for you to hit the ball, like if you swipe up, I think it sends it like a downward kind of spiral, so it, you know, kind of is lower on the table, and if you swipe down, it's a kind of like a lofted shot. Those might be reversed, I don't really remember. And you can swipe either direction to put spin on the ball, and then if you swipe diagonally, you know, send the ball towards the various different sides of the table, and depending on how hard you swipe, it kind of determines whether the ball lands like really short or really far down your opponent's side of the table. And like it works out really well, like surprisingly so. It seems kind of crazy that no one's tried to do a ping pong game with this kind of control method before. Because
and with all the demand for ping pong games.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. But so I guess going back to the tutorial thing, what's weird about powered ping pong is that I feel like this control method is so natural that the like minute, I don't even know how long the tutorial just feels long. It's a lot of text, you know. Yeah, it's like it's just a bunch of shit that you have to read to figure out how you play and stuff like that. And I'm really curious, and I'm sure that they play tested this, or maybe they didn't, who knows, but I'd be curious to see how people play the game if you just handed it to them. If you're like, here you go, check out this ping pong game. You know, and or I guess, you know, hand it to him and be like, oh, here's this ping pong game, you swipe to hit the ball. Yeah. Kind of thing, you know, and like see if you couldn't just like discover all that stuff yourself, I guess. Yeah. Because it's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm kind of a bad target for this kind of stuff, because, you know, we like Wednesday hits, we download like 25 games and check them all out, you know, and like it always kind of drags when it's like, all right, well, let me sit through this tutorial to figure out like if this game is even really going to be worth my time, right? Exactly. So I don't know, I could have a jaded view of this or whatever, but it's got a bunch of other cool stuff too, because like it's got this whole, you know, for better or worse, free to play system where you get all these like different paddles and power ups and all sorts of other crazy crap. And
well, you hear all the time about people saying like, oh, a good play testing was, you know, I went to the bus stop and just handed the phone to people and asked
Mike
them to
Me
play
does
it.
that at the local grade school.
It's true.
Yeah, he's banned from doing that. But
and then I know, and then the police station right afterwards.
Yeah. Then they make you shave your mustache. So and then but I think it's like that's what a game should try and do when nobody's around to do that for you. You know what I'm saying? Like its tutorial should be a, hey, here, play this real quick and check it out and see if you like it. And then like have something deeper a little further in after you've experienced like, oh, this is what this game's all about. Cool. I swipe the ping pong ball, I bat it back and forth. Like then you can be like, okay, if you want to learn more about power-ups or, you know, spin or whatever else, you know, here's a little tutorial for you to go through. Yeah. But if you try and lay that all on at first, people are gonna be like, dude, I'm bored. I just want to see what this game's about. I'm not getting to anything and stuff like that. I think that's super crucial.
Yeah. What's weird too is I feel like with most ping pong games, like you can, you know, you feel like your average player can probably just play them just hitting the ball without any weird backspin or really anything else.
Yeah. The first boot up should be you get thrown into a quick little match that's not super tough, but it just says, hey, swipe the ball to play, and you can goof around with it, and it doesn't matter if you win or lose or what. And then from that point on, it's like, oh, I instantly understand what this game's about, and I like it, and I want to learn more, or it's not my thing, I didn't like it, I'm going to move on.
See, but instead, like, the way that this works out is, like, it throws you in your first little, like, starter match, and then it's like, all right, swipe, you know, big, huge block of text, like, all right, well, you swipe, you know, you hit the ball by swiping, so here's the direction that you swipe, and then, like, you do that. and like you know, you hit it like once or twice, and then another huge block attacks, and it's like, all right, well, blah blah blah, swipe diagonally, you know, do all this crap, and it's like, it just feels excessive, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool game and everything else. So I mean, if you haven't played a ping pong game in a while, you know, just beware that. I'd be curious what other people think about the tutorial actually. Like, so when you finally try it, let me know if you think it's crazy too. I could be off base here. I don't know. I'm kind of weird about tutorials. So.
Well, I actually think you were saying you're not sure if you're just jaded because our job or whatever. I think that's probably more typical than you'd think. People that just
especially with free stuff,
a bunch of free games. Yeah. So they might have a phone full of like hundreds of games that they've only checked out a few, and their patience is probably pretty thin too. I mean, they always say you gotta catch a player in the first like 30 seconds of a game.
Yeah.
So I think that's true.
But yeah, I mean, once you get through the tutorial and like kind of like start figuring out how like the in-game economy and, you know, managing all your different power-up stats and stuff work, like, it's a really, really cool game. It's just, I don't know, the tutorial wall seems odd, but I don't know, maybe not. I'll concede that I'm a weirdo. So
maybe you're just a weirdo,
or maybe I'm totally normal. Maybe this is a normal thing to think. So Don't Starve Pocket Edition is now on the iPhone. Did you fiddle with this at all?
Just very briefly, but
so I'm surprised how well it works on the iPhone. Because like when people were posting, so I guess like, so if you haven't heard of Don't Starve or haven't been following on iOS or whatever, so it launched, last month maybe? Does that sound right?
Yeah,
something like that. A few weeks ago. It was iPad only, and you know, like any time something gets launched for iPad only, like the jailbreak people like instantly, you know, do all the jailbreak tweaks, get it running on their phone, right? So it was very possible to do if you're willing to, you know, do some very, very, very basic kind of jailbreak tweaking to get it running on your phone. But it seemed crazy because this is a game that has a screen that is literally framed with tiny buttons that you have to hit to, you know, do. And I'm not like, look at a screenshot if you haven't seen it. Like, it's a ridiculous amount of buttons in this game, but it's kind of all needed because it's got a real in-depth like crafting system and survival system and everything else. Like you need all those bazillion buttons and toolbars, slots, and all sorts of other crap. So the way it works on the iPhone is pretty smart. So it's a lot like the dock magnification on OS X. In that, like, when you put your finger on the toolbar or whatever, it kind of zooms up to take up about, I don't know, like a quarter of the vertical space on the phone, maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, not sure. But anyway, so you can scroll like right or left, or depending on the toolbar, up and down, to then actually have like reasonably sized buttons to manage all your different stuff. Which it seems like a good solution. I don't know if that was necessarily the solution I was expecting, but it seems to work well. I'm just kind of curious to see what people start thinking of it once they get deeper into the game, because you get into some pretty hectic situations, you know, when you're a few like weeks in, I'd say like weeks in game time, like, you know, you've passed like 14 in-game days or whatever. It makes me wonder, like, if that's going to become an issue with the response time of like needing to scroll through menus and, well, I guess not scroll through menus, but scroll through your toolbar and, you know, equip your shit and do everything, or I guess if it's just going to be fine. But it's got iCloud syncing, which works flawlessly, which was cool. Kind of surprising when I loaded it up and it was like, hey, do you want to enable iCloud? And, all right, cool. Here's all your save games now, just automatically working.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see if the iCloud monster eats those games. I don't even know if that's a problem anymore, if I'm just so jaded by cloud saves in the past. I guess I can't really think of any time recently that I've had my save game eaten.
No, I honestly don't use them enough anyway, because I don't really play with my iPad much. So
yeah,
the only time it's handy for me is if I need to delete something and don't want to lose the save game.
Yeah, that's cool too. I don't know, but yeah. So if you don't have Don't Starve yet, and you like these kind of survival crafting ish games, you like, I would even say, like, if you like games like FTL or more kind of insta-death roguelike kind of stuff, this would be pretty good too. I don't know, it's it's done amazingly well on Steam, so it's not like I need to put any effort towards selling it on iOS or whatever, because it's a really good game. So yeah, I don't know. What else do you play?
I played Electro Ball.
How is it?
Did you guys try that yet?
Retro
Gamer
it's on my high on my radar.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you like.
So did you delete it? Is it deleted, or
no,
you still
I
have it on
didn't
your
delete
phone?
it yet. Only because I was trying to get the high score, but then some stupid TouchArcade viewer beat me, big time. Like another Kelly Down, who I think is in the Mob Crush chat, which I will start cursing at him.
Mike Mead lost at a video game? That's unheard
sad.
of.
He's often a higher score at a lot of the games.
I imagine you as like the kid from The Wizard. Are you saying that's not the case?
There's some games I just can't do. Like this is a touch and like you're dragging your finger around, like moving, dodging stuff. I'm more of a tap guy. Tap really fast. But Electro Balls is just you're controlling a little ball in a circle. You're trapped in a circle, and a bunch of crap is trying to zap you, and you're just moving your ball around, collecting things for points. And the faster you collect them, you actually get more points per item that you collect. Like if you keep grabbing them real quick, you get 3 points, and if you grab them slower, you just get the 1 point. So I don't know. It makes you want to move quick, but I don't know. It gets really crazy, and it has all sorts of weird patterns. But I know it's tough. Like I thought I had a pretty good score, but then I checked in the next following morning, and my heart was
beat you.
Crushed. So sad.
Mob crushed.
Yeah, well, I beat Mike G, who would beat my score. That was like the big thing. Like,
so does that mean are you gonna have to hang up your professional gamer gunner glasses?
No, because if I'm not that good at a genre, like this game, I didn't think I was gonna be like that great at, and I'm not really. I don't think I'm even like that great at it. But like, if it was like some sort of tap game, like I'd be disappointed. I feel like if I had a tap reaction or something, I think it'd be tougher. Like there's people that beat my score in Radical, and like, I mean, I didn't like try like, as much as I probably could have, but I've like played enough since we made the game. But
speaking of Radical, did you see the App Store Games Twitter account like tweeted something like that?
Yeah,
that something
like,
was Radical,
icon?
And I was like, holy shit! Like Mike Mead got promoted in one of the first tweets by these people, and I was like, oh wait, they're just saying something's Radical.
It's like this day has been Radical. I was like, you mean like the iOS game Radical? No, I should have tweeted back. But yeah, there's just certain games that I can't do it. But a funny game that seems like an odd speedrunning game that I've been playing that I'm like, I don't know if I'm still #1 on stuff, is Sage Solitaire, which we talked about.
Oh, love Sage Solitaire.
I've been speedrunning Sage Solitaire.
Wait, what? Explain.
But it doesn't keep track of your time, does it?
It does keep track of your time. It has leaderboards also.
For quickest clear, right? Is that what you're
that's what it is. Quickest clear.
Oh, okay.
Not quickest game over.
You're able to clear the game board? Like reliably?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just play it a bunch and tap like a madman.
But I probably clear like 1 out of every 10 games.
Yeah, let's see. Jared Nelson's see, okay, your single deck fastest clear time is like 196 seconds. Because you're probably thinking, and you're like, that's like, take like 3 minutes.
Give us your pro strategy for quick clear.
Tap loudly and hope to get lucky.
Could I give away my Sage Solitaire speedrun strategy?
Because it sounds like you're just tapping randomly.
Well, I have 31 seconds. So 31.77 seconds clear.
No way. Are you on top of the leaderboard then?
Yeah, that's like I think that's #1 on the leaderboards.
They're gonna think you're a hacker.
Oh, I know. It's not anymore. I didn't check today. Like it was like 2 days ago, but someone has 28.19, which still could be a legit score most likely, because my 31 seconds felt pretty quick, but like I still probably didn't go as fast as I could have.
That's what she said, Mike.
Heyo. But I also have the 15's fastest time, I think. Unless, oh yeah, it's 29 seconds.
It's a lot easier to clear a board in 15.
Yeah, so, okay, my secret, top secret, is it's just a combination of just tapping matches that you can just recognize and always, well, not always, but most of the time clicking the hint just in case they have something that you might not see right away. But the hint is most often, I found the hint is most often not the greatest move, but they might give you an idea of like something in case you're slow, or they might show you a 5-card clear just that you might not have noticed right away.
Yeah, we were talking about how the hint, we thought that was kind of cheesy, that there was no limit on it or any penalty for using it or whatever. But like, the more I've played since that last podcast, the hint is not that great. I mean, you could just rely on the hint and you'll never get like a great score. So what I mostly use it for now is to, if I think there's not a move on the board, I'll use hint to make sure there's not a move on the board. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you sort of get like blinded to just seeing something that's right in front of your face. Like, oh crap, there's a 7-8-9 right in front of me and I didn't even see it. And you almost trash a card. That's the way I use it now. Is like, okay, I don't see any moves. Let me make sure there's no moves before I go trashing something.
I still think that it should reduce your score when you hit it.
No,
I mean, I'm not opposed to that.
I mean,
I just feel like it's not a. I feel like it's just. I don't know. Solitaire to me is always just given hints, like in any solitaire game that I've played on the computer. Like, I mean, you would just double tap something, and it'll just move it to where it thinks is the best spot.
It's basically exactly the same as how hint is in Sage Solitaire.
Because like you really, I feel like you want to clear the top rows the most, like the ones with more cards under it in Sage Solitaire. But it's funny is like they'll give you a hint and it'll like give you, something from the second row and then like 2 things from the third row, even though those same 2 cards could also be on the top row, which is where you would want to clear it. It's not showing like, it doesn't seem like it's showing the most optimal, but it does show you like maybe maybe you didn't see a 5-card something for whatever reason, very fast, or I don't know, like it's in 15s. It's funny because like if you don't want to do very fast math, but I mean you just remember as long as you remember like the patterns of cards that like match for 15, I think you're all right.
Wow.
It's like I thought that was a weird speedrun game. So like my two high score games were Electro Ball and Sage Solitaire for time. It's like, what? Oh well.
I had no idea that Sage Solitaire was a speedrunning game.
Yeah,
it's someone that does nothing fast. It's not surprising that it would necessarily be.
I guess I gotta try to beat 28 seconds now. I don't know for that. That seems like pretty rough.
So on the way back from PAX, I decided I would play through Tales from the Borderlands, since all 4 of the 5 episodes are out now. So I was like, oh, this will be good. I'll be all caught up from when the 5th one comes out. Remember when Brad caused that like kerfuffle with Telltale because like he was saying that their engine's shitty and all that stuff way back when
he was speaking the truth? Yes, I remember. Yes.
That. So that giant Mophie that I have, right, that we bought at E3 or whatever, like basically went to, I don't even remember, like Best Buy or something, and bought the biggest Mophie imaginable because we were shooting the video with our iPhone.
Brick.
Yeah. So I don't know how much battery this thing holds, but it's the biggest one they sell. So playing this game on my iPad, 4-hour flight from Seattle to Chicago, I completely exhausted my Mophie.
Wow.
With it plugged into my iPad, and ended at about, I want to say like 25-30% onboard battery of the iPad. And that got me through like 1 3/4 episodes of the game.
Wow. That's rugged.
That is, and like, dude, my iPad was like red hot and everything. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah. I think it's just like, man, they build for PC first and just do not optimize for mobile. They just get it running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I guess it doesn't surprise me.
I mean, it's a cool game. Like, I'm really enjoying it, but because I really like the Borderlands universe. But it's fucking nuts that you like basically have to be plugged into a wall outlet to play it.
Yeah, I don't think you gain a whole lot by playing any of those games on mobile because they're all on PC and stuff too, or console.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's such story-driven sort of things that like you're doing you'd be better off like watching on a big screen with better sound and stuff like that. Anyway, not like better off really, because I played through The Walking Dead on my iPad and I thought it was great, very engrossing or whatever. But you know what I mean. If you have them on desktop already, it's like just play it that way.
Well, another thing that kind of sucks with the mobile versions of these games is that and it's terrible too, because like these games are so fucking good. Like all the recent Telltale ones, like every single one I played, but like, man, this is great. I mean, like they might not start out that awesome, like the Game of Thrones games, like the first episode's a little weak, but whatever. But the games are still fun, and they're all really, really worth like at least checking out, especially when they inevitably go free for the first episode. But man, the save system's bad too. Like you can sometimes get caught in these situations where, and this just happened to me yesterday when I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna play a little bit more. I got 10 minutes to burn. Like, let me get through the next segment of this. And the save points in those games seem to be heavily biased towards any kind of like quick action stuff. Before any kind of combat or whatever, there's always a save, and then there's like several checkpoints like during any kind of like quick movement section. But if you are just outside of that, like there isn't a save point until the next time that you go into like a combat kind of thing. So here I was being like, all right, well, I'm gonna play this like 10 or 15 minutes or whatever, and like got roped into like double that, because it was just like, and at that point I was just like, dude, I just want the fucking game to save. Like, just save.
I need to go.
Like, I need to do something else, but like I don't want to close the app and then have to go through like another 20 minutes of all the stuff that I just sat through.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
That's why, again, like I feel like you're not gaining a whole lot by playing it on mobile, because it's not very mobile friendly play sessions or anything. And when I played through like The Walking Dead, it was like I would play like an entire episode, sit down and play, or two. You know what I mean? I rarely was like, I want to stop and then play for like a few minutes at a time, because you're trying to follow a story and see what's going to happen next and stuff like that. And so I feel like enjoying that in little bits and pieces broken up throughout however many days is not a great thing.
Yeah, totally.
And the other thing is like, when they set up the saves to start before these like really exciting things like a fight or something like that, it's like, that's not where I want to stop either. I want to play through this fight, or it seems like a bad stopping point to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, if you like Borderlands at all, like I would say this is definitely worth playing. Like, there's been many like very, very funny moments in the game, and I don't know if Telltale is just like really getting better with how they do the pacing of their episodes and stuff like that. But I feel like every single episode so far that I played like really starts out with a bang. Like when because they do their episodes like a TV show, where it eventually does like the title card and stuff like that. And every single one of the Borderlands episodes, like that hits at like the perfect crescendo of like the early climax of the episode.
Right.
To the point that it's like, man, I don't know. It's one of those things where it happens over and over and over. And you're just like, this is so good. It is crazy how they're pacing these. Mm-hmm. So aside from the save points and it eating your battery and kind of running like shit on iOS devices anyway, really good. So yeah. What else should we talk about? We're running kind of long on this episode. We could hit any big news stories that seem super relevant to talk about. I guess Order in Chaos 2 is coming, which that's neat.
What is it?
Order in Chaos 2. You just posted about those.
Oh, yeah. I don't really care about that.
You remember you mentioned the App Store games Twitter.
Oh yeah, you posted about that
kind of like
too.
Game related.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know. It makes sense. They have like separate Twitters for almost everything that they do. Yeah. So, the general App Store account has always been really good at like highlighting really good things, but it's a mixture. It's like, here's some cool apps, here's a productivity app, here's a game, like whatever. And so it kind of makes sense to split things off and be like, here's just game stuff. And apparently it's directly run by the same team that does all the featuring and stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I think it's a neat thing. They started doing, like last week, they started doing those little behind the scenes videos that are like 2 minutes long. That's just like a really quick little kind of snippet of like, this is what went behind making this game. And, you can tell they're done by Apple because they're like really well done. And they're interesting. They're just like 2 minute quick little thing. And so I hope they do a lot more stuff like that because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with some of the features that they mentioned on their actual Twitter feed. Like here, let's see if we can load it up and see. They mentioned
Well, they said there's going to be like tips, behind the scenes stuff, and previews,
game challenges. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, because like right now they did this like interview with Robert Kirkman, who I think is the Walking Dead guy. It's like it just seems like not a great format for that. Where it's like they're like interviewing someone via Twitter. Well, it's not anything to watch.
They're trying to do like it's like
it's like a couple dozen tweets and retweets.
They did that with Tom Hanks on the App Store thing one time, right? Was that Apple that did that like long ago when it came out with this little typewriter app? They did like it's just like a bunch of tweets and retweets of the answer. So it kind of not like it's just it's kind of interesting way to like kind of fill up someone's Twitter feed, like
it's like them trying to do a Reddit AMA.
Yeah, it is. Or you could just have a link to a blog with his, the interview or something that you could just read it.
Yeah.
But it's like they want people to watch it in like a live, like a live stream of an interview. But
I guess I feel like Twitter is really just the wrong format for that though. I mean, because like I will just unfollow someone that like when you look at Twitter and it's like, oh, here's 20 tweets in a row of this person like talking back and forth and retweet. I mean, like it just seems to go against Twitter etiquette, right? Maybe.
At least, they did include hashtag App Store chat. So I don't know if they're giving people a chance to mute a hashtag if you didn't care. I mean, there wasn't enough. There wasn't a lot of questions really.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like it wasn't super crazy. There's probably like 6 or so questions, so it wasn't like too ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it is kind of strange seeing that on like a Twitter interview. I understand videos and different things like that, and maybe tips and tricks. I wonder what that means, or like what kind of tips and tricks is it in the form
how
of
to hack Clash of Clans,
free
Clash of Clans gold.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
It's someone that builds games and lives and dies based on these kind of various Apple promotions. Like, are you concerned about other kind of things like this, or is it all just kind of gravy?
Well, you figure like any coverage is going to be good. Like I don't think we haven't been like tweeted about that much from Apple. I mean, we might have got one tweet about Radical, I think, or something, and I'm not sure if we got a Mikey Boots tweet from the App Store account.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they're going, if the games account is going to tweet more about games or something, or about it'll be interesting to see what they do for like new releases. Because the App Store usually account always tweeted a handful of the best new games from the week, usually, and then you would hope to be like among that if they're tweeting about it, and that goes to a few million people was the App Store, and this games account is currently at about 34,000 people, but is that people that are really into games, or is that just developers? Is it 34,000 developers hoping to see Apple talk about their game?
It makes me wonder. I'd really love to see like the actual Twitter stats of Apple's various accounts, because I was kind of so Twitter added the ability to see analytics on your tweets and stuff like that, like maybe I don't know a year ago or 6 months ago or something like that. And I was kind of amazed by how few click-throughs you actually get on Twitter, because like you'll look at like what you think is a big story, it's getting like retweeted a ton and favorited a bunch and stuff like that, and then you actually look at it and it's like, well, more people retweeted this than actually clicked the link.
Right.
So it's like people are just retweeting something just because it's easy to click a button, but not actually like going to any of that content.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder like how much of a slam dunk even being featured by the Apple Twitter accounts even is.
I don't know.
Yeah. So. It'll be interesting to see how much they do, how much they talk about games. Like I mean, if I'm following App Store games account, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing like a bunch of tweets every day about games. If that's if I'm following an App Store games account, like
I guess
I mean the interview is one thing. Like I don't know how often they're going to do the chats. I mean, I don't if it's once a week they do a little interview thing for that 6 or 7 questions. I'm sure that's not that big of a deal, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to hear about. I mean, I always look at the App Store anyway, so I assume that anything they show on the App Store is going to be, you know, they're going to tweet about it. So and most of the stuff they tweet about, it's like I've already heard on Touch Arcade or their best new games, like on Thursdays.
The featuring stuff, yeah.
Yeah, because that's pretty much what they're tweeting about anyway, because that's what they've chosen already. So
yeah.
So I mean, you know, it's not like you're getting, you know, I think as a developer and as people, Touch Arcade folks are probably not going to see any like new games, but maybe you'll get some of those behind the scenes videos, which are kind of neat to see, or you know, those kind of things, or maybe some tips and tricks or whatever, the challenges or whatever they're talking about might be interesting. But who knows? I don't know. As a developer, if they tweet anything about your game, I think you should be happy. I don't.
Well, right,
think, like, because it's not like the App Store account, the main account was like tweeting everybody's game anyway. It's
well, it just makes you wonder, like, where
only tweeted?
Where in the grand scheme of like Apple promotions, like a tweet lies. Because like I've always heard that the first featured spot is better than editor's choice, and they kind of like go down from there, you know. So I wonder, like a tweet from the App Store account gets me as many downloads as like feature spot number 10 or you know, whatever else.
Yeah, I mean you're featured. That's, you know, people who look at the App Store app, you know, are looking at they're looking for new games or something. Not everyone's people's Twitter feeds probably fly by.
Right.
No one's going to catch up on everything. So I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, I guess that's our podcast this week. A lot of game chat, which is always cool. Anyone ever have any last words before we drive this home?
Nope.
No, there's no words. No more words.
No words. So next week is the keynote. I guess we'll have our all keynote stuff to talk about.
Now we'll find out what that App Store Games Twitter account's really for.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a pretty predictable keynote, but you know, I'd love to be wrong. So we'll see.
Next week you can watch the podcast, the Mob Crush from a new Apple TV.
Yeah, maybe
streaming.
So. I don't know. Well, thanks for listening, guys. And as always, leave us iTunes reviews. Always appreciate those. And if you want to send us an email, it's podcast@toucharcade.com. And, of course, if you're not visiting toucharcade.com every day for your latest iPhone and iPad gaming news, you should get on that. It'd be weird that you're listening to this podcast if you don't look at the website. But, you know, whatever.
It happens.
It happens. So thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you next week. Cool. Thanks, Mob Crush and YouTube people. See you next week.